When we came out to this property, the customer had a double wide trailer out here. I basically came out, did a walk around, looked for anything out of the ordinary. In my head, I'm envisioning how it's going to come down, how many dumpsters we're going to need, what kind of equipment we're going to need on site. In this case, since it was a double wide, it was pretty substantial. There was some concrete and brick skirting. It had a roof that had shingles on it, so there was some extra weight there we had to think about. These projects do bring higher ticket value to you. The single wide is going to run, depends on your market, but 5 to 6K, double wide more like 8 to 10K. There's a lot of variables that go into that. That's just the average. But I mean, big ticket items, we completed this job in 2.5 days. So it's nice to have these projects. Utilities are very, very important to have shut off before you do anything, before you touch a trailer. You want to locate where the water line's going into. If there's any gas lines, those need to be cut off and removed completely. If there's any electric, that needs to be cut off. It's always a good idea to call 811 before you start on any projects and have them mark everything. Have them mark any underground lines. If there's septic or well, have them mark that. That way you can stay away from those lines. The worst thing you can do is run over a septic tank or run over a septic field, because that's going to get really expensive for you. We actually cracked the water line on this one, but luckily the water was turned off and we were able to fix it pretty quickly. I wanted to get this project done as quickly as possible. Technically, we probably could have gotten it done with just a skid steer, but that excavator really made things go a lot quicker. And the less time you're actually on site, the more money you can save. A single wide trailer is going to take about 3 30-yard containers. There's some other variables that go into that, like the skirting, decks, porches, anything additional. A double wide is going to take you anywhere between 4 and 5. This particular trailer took us about 4.5. The thing with this project, when you're working out of town, or when you have a long distance drive to the job site, you want to go ahead and schedule those dumpsters a week or 2 in advance. Have at least 2 brought to you on the first day. You'll fill those up on day 1. On day 2, you want to go ahead and schedule those swaps for that morning, for the morning of day 2. That way the company can come out, swap them out, and you got 2 new containers to work with. That second day, the second afternoon, or the third day is going to be the final cleanup. When we want to pull it down, we want to try to leave everything we can in its own footprint. That way, at the end of the day, you have less stuff to clean up. It's going to make your customer happy because you're not tearing up the entire property. You're only kind of in that footprint. So we take a mattress and then we basically use it like a big broom. Once everything's down, everything's loaded, sweep everything up, and then we bring a couple crews out to do actual hand raking of all the small debris and just get it as clean as we can. So if you're not able to rent an excavator, if you're only using a Bobcat, it would probably take an additional day, give or take. It's going to take you a little bit longer to bring the actual trailer down itself. With that excavator, you can really pretty much have everything on the ground in a day or less. The excavator just makes things so much quicker, but it is doable with a Bobcat. It's just a little more time consuming, and you're going to be on site for a little bit longer. I do like to have at least one other person on site for safety reasons. If anything were to happen to me, or if you're working out there by yourself, it also pays off while you're doing the demo. You're going to expose the I-beams that are running through the trailer. It's nice to have a crew on site where they can come in, they can cut those I-beams out, and they can pull them out and separate them from metal. Once those I-beams are out, it's actually easier to pull the trailer down as well, so that speeds up the process. Once you have those 3rd and 4th dumpsters filled up, that's when it's nice to have that crew come in and start hand raking, start helping you load everything. It gets to a point with the Bobcat when you're doing the cleanup where you can't really load anything else in the bucket. You're kind of having to go around the site and load stuff by hand. It's easier to have your crew out there helping you do that. And so one of the things that we've run into in the past with these jobs, especially with the Bobcat, is with that grapple bucket, you have these hydraulic lines that are running to the grapple itself. And while you're doing the demo, something could get caught and tear the line, which has happened to us all the time. So when I'm bidding these jobs, I always put in a little bit extra in case that were to happen. It does happen fairly often where a piece of metal or something snags on the line, and then you've got to call in a hose repair company to come in and repair the hose for you. That usually takes away half a day, you know, so you're out half a day at that point. I would definitely say it's a great job to have. I would get your feet wet with some other stuff first, like larger sheds, garages, stuff like that. If you've never operated a skid steer before, it's a good idea to bring somebody in that has experience on a skid steer. You can really do some damage or hurt yourself if you've never spent time on a skid steer. But it's a great project to have. They're big ticket items. The one thing that I would recommend is if you do take on these projects, make sure you're not turning away anything else. You should be able to continue to run your normal junk removal jobs, your bread and butter, your furniture, you know, all that stuff like that. You never want to turn away that stuff if you're going to take on larger projects like this. This is Fowler with Junk Doctors. Thank you guys for watching.